everyone, welcome to EduTap and also welcome to the government scheme sessions. So in these sessions we cover all the schemes that are important from your examination point of view, be it whatever examination that you are giving. And how are we saying that? So see, by past year analysis it is found that any scheme that has been recently launched or was in news for past 1 year, that becomes important from the examination point of view. And what now we are doing, any scheme that has been recently mentioned in your PIB, we are going to pick those and we are going to discuss that with you all. Okay, so the scheme that we are covering, that is Pradhan Mantri Kisan SAMPADA Yojana today. All right, so see, but before starting there is something that I want to share with you all. And here, see, we have come up with one-stop solution of all your queries that are related to RBI and its examination. So this is very beneficial for the RBI aspirant. Here everything, as you can see, has been mentioned first about the RBI. What is it? What's its role in Indian economy? All right, and apart from that, its hierarchy system, what are the different departments that are in it? And after that, once you understand about RBI manager, then all the eligibility criteria that is there to join the RBI, it has been mentioned with the syllabus, with the previous year cutoff, what are the trends that goes in it. All right, so if you want to download this ebook in the form of ebook, the link of this book, it is present in the description box below. All right, so now let's start with today's session. So see, when we talk about the post-harvest loss in India, what is post-harvest? That once you have harvested the crop and now it's not being utilized. Okay, so this can be because of various reasons. This could be because of the poor storage facilities, right? This could be because of poor marketing, and because of that, a lot of food that can be utilized, that gets wasted. And of course, it is a serious threat to the food security, because see, we are capable enough to grow our own food, but that is not being reached to the consumer, right? So for that, various schemes that are now being introduced by the government, and one such is Kisan Sampada. So now what is it? So we have understood a little bit basic idea that it is related to the agriculture produce only, but what will it do? That is, we have to understand. What will it do? That the post-harvest loss that is currently somewhere around 5 to 36% in India, how can we reduce that? Okay, so for that, the government, they came up with a scheme. And see, imagine the tomato we just saw that was rotten. What if those tomatoes, they could have been utilized for making ketchup, right? So in this way, the produce would have also been utilized, value would have been added, and of course this is, of course, it gets more money or profit than the raw tomatoes, right? So in this way, what would have happened? The farmer, they would have a steady source to sell the produce, and therefore steady income. Apart from that, the industries would have been set up for the food processing, right? And the people would have got jobs, right? So this can be done. Apart from that, similar example could have been gone for potato. Instead of potato that got wasted, they could have been used for making into chips, right? So that is why this scheme Kisan Sampada, it has a full form. Sampada has a full form. And what is it? So this scheme is for agro-marine processing. So see, what is this processing, or what is this processed food? Okay, so what happened? The raw material is taken, the edible raw material is taken from agriculture, some value is added, some changes are done, and then the produce has been formed, and this produce is known as processed food, and this process is known as agro processing. Okay, so in this value added product, it can be utilized for longer duration of time, and of course the income of this is more than the raw material. Okay, so the full form here, scheme for agro marine processing. So we are not just talking about the agriculture products that are grown on land, but also in the water as well, and development of agro processing clusters. So the focus would also be given on the development of formation of the agro processing clusters under this particular scheme. So now let's look at what are the basics of this scheme for better understanding. So see, the launch year of the scheme, it is 2017, and this scheme was launched in May 2017. At that time, its name was just PM Sampada scheme, and then in August this term Kisan was also added, and hence it became PM Kisan Sampada scheme. Now talking about ministry, so although you may think that because we are talking about agriculture products over here, so the ministry can be Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, but that is not. Here the ministry, it is your Ministry of Food Processing Industries, because here we are talking about the food processing, right? So that is why it falls under this particular ministry. Now let's talk about the aim. So see here the aim of the scheme, that is to create modern infrastructure. What modern infrastructure? Such food processing industry should be set up, such modern infrastructure should be set up that would help to value add to the product. Those are usually get wasted, right? So creation of modern infrastructure with efficient supply chain management. What does it mean, this supply chain management? What does it mean? What is the supply chain? So see, we know the produce from the farm gate till the retail outlet it reach, there are various steps, right? There can be different mode of transportation that are used, there are different outlets that comes in between them, right? So this is known as supply chain. There are different chain from the from the farm to till the consumer get it. There are various steps that would be there, right? There are different outlets will be there from there this produce has to go through, right? This is a supply chain. So here not only the modern infrastructure will be keep in mind so that the post harvest loss can be reduced, but also focus will be on supply chain management. For that in this we are going to study in detail in the further slide as well, but just to give you a brief understanding, it is this. What is the type of scheme? So it is a center sector scheme. So center sector schemes are the ones which are 100% funded by the central government. So this scheme, it is 100% being taken care by the central government, while there is another category which is center sponsored, where the center and the state they have their where they share the funding. Okay, budget for this initially when this scheme was launched, so for the time it was for a limited time duration. That time it was 6,000 crore, but that you need not to remember, because this is a new budget allocation now that has been done for the year of 21-22 till 25-26, and the budget that has been allocated, it is your 4,600 crore. All right, so these are the basic things. Now let's look at the objectives. So the first objective is to create of modern infrastructure for processing. So see, we know that government, they have their different schemes that are there for the taking care of the storage infrastructure and other such things, right? But this scheme, it is dedicatedly focused on the food processing infrastructure, right? Modern infrastructure in that. So more and more food processing infrastructure with better technologies. See, we are focusing on modern, better technologies will be made under this. Apart from that, to create effective backward and forward linkage. What does it mean? Backward and forward means, okay, so this is the forward linkage and this is the backward linkage. So of course in forward we are talking about modern infrastructure, but what will be the use of this modern infrastructure? To do food processing, and for food processing we need raw materials, and this will be got by the farmers, right? So here we are talking about backward. In backward sense, we are talking about the what is the root cause or what will be the base of these modern this infrastructure, right? So that would be the produce that will be cultivated. So here this particular scheme will act as a link between these two, right? The farmer produce that is there, and the modern infrastructure, because those would be dependent on each other. These will tie up with the farmers for their produce, so farmer will have a steady income, and farmer in return he would get a good income, right? To give it to the when they will sell the produce to the these industries, right? And of course in these industry they would have their further profit. So this is the backward forward linkage. Next is to create robust supply chain infrastructure for perishable. Now what does it mean? Supply chain we have understood by now. So there is a series that goes on from the farm till the consumer gets the produce, right? So for that the supply chain infrastructure should also be robust for perishable. So what are perishable products? These are those products that deteriorate, that degrade, that decompose easily and very fast. For example, think of a banana. In 2-3 days it rots, right? Similarly guava, and there are other such examples. Vegetables, they rot very easily, some of the vegetables. For such perishable food products, there should be a proper supply chain infrastructure should be there. So what is done in that? So usually now the government is focusing on such modern trucks where that act as a refrigerator as well. So what happens there, basically you can regulate the temperature and then you reduce the temperature in such infrastructure, such transport where when the produce it is taken care by the taken from the farmer, that in such trucks, what happens, the temperature of it, it is lowered so that the shelf life of the product, it can be increased, right? So there, so when it reaches to its final destination, till then the product, it will be of good quality. All right, so this is your next step. And then improved shelf life and steady revenue to farmers. Okay, because of these steps, what will be done, shelf life will be increased and steady revenue will be, farmer will have a steady revenue by this. Okay, so now let's look at the components. So these are the components you just need to read, and these are very easy to understand. Mega food parks, these are the areas where all the modern technologies, modern infrastructure that is related to storage, supply chain management, and all the food industries, that are all food processing industries that are there. Integrated cold chain and value addition infrastructure, this is what I have just explained. Such transportation are used where you can actually regulate the inside temperature of the truck, and there the perishable items, they can be easily transported from one place to another with lesser loss than before, right? So for example, if somebody someone wants to sell the produce from Maharashtra to somewhere in not Maharashtra, let's take Punjab. Okay, so from Punjab or Haryana region or UP region, the vegetables from UP region to in the southern region in Kerala, right? So we can understand that if the perishable items are there, they would deteriorate, or they would deteriorate in between the transportation only, right? So in such cases, such infrastructure is what we require. Then infrastructure for agro processing clusters. Okay, for clusters also there should be proper infrastructure. So here you just have to understand, we're talking about infrastructure and institution only. So human resource and institution, food safety and quality assurance structure, creation of backward linkage, we have already understood, and creation expansion of food processing and preservation capacities, these all are components of this. So that is what we have understood, the static portion. Now why did we understand all this? Okay, so basically, say this scheme was in news. Here what the news was of 21st September that we looked at of PIB. So convergence module between agriculture infrastructure fund scheme, Prime Minister Microfood Enterprise Upgradation Scheme, and PM Kisan SAMPADA scheme launch. So now the convergence of all the scheme is there. Why? Because all are focusing on providing with the infrastructure in the agriculture, right? So that is why the convergence module of this, it took place. Okay, and here see, if you want to know more about agriculture infrastructure fund scheme, I have made a separate video on that. I will provide the link in the description box, so you can watch it from there. And PM Kisan Sampada Yojana we have done in this session, and in next session I'll cover the micro food processing enterprise upgradation scheme, so that this news, it becomes more clear and all the concepts are better understood. All right, so that is all in this scheme. Now let's have a quick revision. So see here, let's look at the launch of this scheme. So it took place in 2017 and it falls under the Ministry of Food Processing, right? Fund, it is center sector, and the fund allocation is 4,600 crore for the year of 5 years. Aim, that is to creation of modern infrastructure. Key features we have, that is to improve shelf life and steady revenue to farmers, and objective is creation of modern infrastructure for food processing. Apart from that, creating backward forward linkage, and the most important is robust supply chain infrastructure for perishables. All right, so that is all in this. So you have a question. So it says, who is the current minister of food processing industries? Question like such are have been seen in examination, and you should be aware of that. So that is your homework, and that is all for today. So if you're new to our channel, kindly subscribe to it, and you can also join our Telegram channel to get the PDF of this and every lecture that we provide here on YouTube. So that is all in this video. If you have any doubt, any query, you can always write to us, and if you want me to cover any scheme, then also let me know. So that is all in this session. So until the next session, all the very best for your examination, and thank you.